Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It's it's a pleasure to see you alive and well.
Yo, and the same to you.
It's been a
You
grip,
know,
man. It's been about 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks.
yeah. When the rest it has to be taken, it has to be taken. Period.
Yo, you're not joking, man. You're not joking at all,
Yeah,
man. Look at you. You're well cut up, nice. I
yeah.
look like I'm off the mountain with Moses.
Yo, don't believe the hype, man. I got one. There's an echo. Yeah,
I
I
got
know
it.
you. Yeah, there's a don't believe the hype. There's a thing in my Clippers kit, right? That it's a square thing, and zzzz, and then I look fresh and clean again. You know what I'm saying? Like a razor hit me. You know what I'm saying? Don't believe the hype, B. Don't believe
So
the hype.
so listen, you went on a trip, man. You was on a trip.
I did a couple weeks ago. I went to we had a marriage cruise, and we went to Curacao,
Oh,
and then we went to Aruba,
oh.
and then we went to Coco Cay in the Bahamas.
Uh,
So yeah, we had a good time, man. Couple of little bit of little marriage conference. The days we were at sea,
sure,
and
sure.
then yeah, shouts out to Lamar. Uh, so yeah, we had a little, while we were at sea, and then when we docked, it was yeah. Let's
It
go
was it
run the
was something
town.
different. It was something
Yeah,
different.
let's go run the tear up the town. Let's go tear up the town. Yeah, I love Aruba though. I gotta go back. I mean, like for a couple days. Maybe we need to plan a trip here and just go to Aruba.
Listen. It's me. It's not on you. It's me. I'm talking too much. I gotta put some action behind my
Yo,
words. You know
let
what I
me
mean?
tell you something. Life is too short, B. Life is
Yeah.
short.
Yo, straight.
Life is
Way
short.
too short. Way too short, man.
Yeah, a partner of mine. I won't put his name out there just yet. But he adopted a girl, him and his wife, a couple years ago, maybe about four, five,
Hmm.
maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. Might be that long. And then she developed a rare case of cancer, and she passed away this week. You know what I'm saying? She was
Oh,
like, I don't know, she must have been about 14.
oh man.
And so when I hear those stories, and my heart is bleeding for him right now because
Yeah.
he in the ministry. And so
Hmm.
my heart is bleeding for him right now because it's my dude. When I say it's my dude, it's my dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And just things like that just cause me to look at life and be like, yo, life is too short.
Life is too short, man.
It's
Life is
too
too
short.
short.
It's too short. Where is it that we need to go? What do we need to experience? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What do we need to do? What
Oh,
do we
look,
need to open up? What do we need to climb?
Jimmy,
Yeah.
don't play. Don't play. Don't play.
Jimmy said,
Matter of fact,
men's conference in Aruba. I think wives have to
Jimmy,
come. What wives have to come to that?
oh, they have to. They have to. They gotta come. I'm glad that my wife was with me.
I hear you. I hear you.
You understand what I'm telling? I'm
Yes, sir.
glad that faith. Matter of fact, let me just show you, because if you let me, P,
Yeah.
if you let me run wild in it might be, yeah, it might be a problem.
It will be, it
Don't
will pro-
Yeah, don't let me run wild in what's the name, in Aruba, any of them places for that matter.
oh my
Oh, there it
goodness.
go. There it go. There it go. So there it is right here. Hold on, let me see if it'll let me.
Oh, you
Yeah.
throwing up
Uh yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is it right here. So let me you can see this. So look at this right here.
listen, you're on
Hold on.
oh what look at big one. Oh jeez.
They're feeding fish, B. Yo, I'm just telling you, bro. That I think is one of the most amazing parts to me.
Yeah, that's hot right there.
You know what I'm saying? Like
That's hot, man.
you. All right, enough of you. You really it's something. The reason why I love and I ain't trying to super spiritualize nothing, but like for real, when you out there in the ocean, P, you get an idea of who you really are in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, I hear you. Like this.
I don't even know if it's that big. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we were like measuring we were looking up on Google certain parts of the depths of the sea, and we were seeing numbers like 5,000 miles, 25,000 miles before you
Yeah,
hit the bottom. Right? You go. I don't know if you saw that special that Will did recently where they
I
went.
know. I heard about it. I heard about it.
Not me, bro. Yo, bro, I love the ocean. As a
I'm not
matter of,
going down there.
bro, let me tell you
Do
something.
do I look like I have gills? No, I'm
I'll
not even
tell
playing with that, man.
I'll
I'm not
tell
even
you
playing with
this.
that.
I'll tell you this. Aruba has a lot of history, especially that dates back to World War II. The
Okay.
Dutch were there, and we went to go see this shipwreck. Now it must have been about, I'd say about 100 feet deep, 150 feet deep, maybe. And so about a mile off the coast, um, they took us. First, we went snorkeling where you saw me feeding the fish. And then we went to another part where it was where the ship was. So apparently in World War II, there was a ship called the Antilles.
Mhm.
And the captain of the ships, long story short, so that the Dutch wouldn't capture the ship, he sunk the ship.
Instead of having it be captured.
Captured, and they all swam to shore. So they all lived. So the ship has been sitting at the bottom of the ocean about a mile off the coast since World War II. So I got fins on, so now I really can swim now.
Mm.
So I dived down to touch the top part of the ship. But let me tell you, it was massive.
Mm.
It was massive, and it was exciting and eerie at the same time, because this is not like a boat. This is a full-on ship
Ah,
sitting on the side of it, right? So I'm diving down, swarms of fish all over, a sea turtle pass you on one way, another sea
you're
turtle.
not from Brooklyn.
Yo,
You're not from Brooklyn.
but the roots, their yard still.
Yeah.
So, you see me? So
Yo, I
that
can't
kind of
listen. That foolishness, man.
I'm excited by that kind of stuff, bro. I'm excited.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you, man. I hear
I
you.
only could go but so far though. I was like, yeah, any deeper than this is a bit much for
Any
me.
deeper than this?
Yeah,
No, sir.
yeah,
Yo, listen, man. When you talk about the captain of the ship made a decision.
yeah. Ooh.
All right, now that was a serious thing you just said. I want you to think about that,
Ooh.
because what we're talking tonight, man. We didn't.
Oh,
Everything is unscripted. But
oh,
you just pulled up something just now. You just said something that makes a big difference. You just
oh,
said
P.
that the captain made a decision to sink this bad boy so that it won't get captured. Yo, that's a lot to say about a marriage.
So can I say what actually happened? Let me give you a little bit more detail.
Okay.
So the Dutch were pretty much they were deep during
Okay.
World War II in the Caribbean, specifically at Aruba, because it's they Papiando. There's a language like like Jamaica have Patois,
Yeah. Yeah.
Haiti has Creole, Aruba
Mhm.
has a language called Papiando, right? So they speak that, they speak Spanish, they speak English, and they speak Dutch. Most of the inhabitants of the island, even the
Uh-huh.
children, know 4 languages,
Okay.
right? So during that time, uh, the Germans were there
Right.
and spying, doing all of the other stuff that they did. They ran into the Dutch. They was like, yo, they were in talks. Tomorrow we're coming to get the ship.
They're
And
coming to get
so,
the ship.
yeah, they were like, surrender, we'll allow you to live, but we're coming to get the ship. Like, right? He decides that he agrees to the terms, but that night, because it was fairly a brand new ship, it's called the Antilles. Whenever you get a chance, just anybody who's listening who wants to see it, just go to YouTube and just be like Aruba shipwreck Antilles, Antilles, right? He agrees, and then late at night saying, nah,
I'm done.
they not getting this ship. They're not getting this ship. So apparently what he did, he put bombs at whatever ends of the ship, and he opened up. There's something that happens when the engines are hot and you let cold water come in, it'll cause them to explode. Don't get me to explain the science behind it, because I don't remember exactly, but that's
Mhm.
exactly what happened. That massive piece of ship is sitting at the bottom of the ocean right now.
Wow. Wow.
And so he said, nah, they're not going to do us like that, not Germany. So boom, they sank the ship and they swam to shore. And you
Okay.
say it now in terms of marriage.
In terms of marriage, the captain made a decision
That's it.
that I would rather keep the integrity of the ship, right, than to fight something, than to give it up.
Yep.
So think about that, right? When you're
Yep.
in a relationship, whether it's marriage or leading to marriage, right?
Yep.
I believe that it's really important that you save the integrity
Bro.
of this thing, to swim ashore. I'd rather save the integrity than to have somebody take it.
But just think about his loyalty to Germany. Think about his loyalty to whatever you want to call it, the regiment that he was a part of, for
Right.
whatever it was. There was a level of loyalty there. I won't even allow you to get the secrets on this ship and how
Yeah.
this ship was built. And because next thing you know, then y'all got ships that can compete with ours. And he was like, no, rather than you get all of that, we're going to sink this bad boy.
Yo, can you imagine somebody's in divorce court, right? And they're fighting for who gets the house.
Mm,
And someone says, I want you to think about this, right? Someone says, here it is, I'm fighting for the house,
mm,
but I'm not fighting for the relationship.
that's crazy.
I'm fighting for the assets.
But
But
I'm not.
but a lot of us don't realize that marriage and what comes with marriage are assets. You understand where I'm coming from?
I'm hearing you loud and clear,
So we find ourselves giving up all of our assets or fighting for the wrong thing.
bro.
You understand where I'm coming from? Yo, I love that story you just told, man, because there's a level again of integrity
Can I?
for holding. When my dad
Mhm.
says, "Hey, man, me and your mother together, partly because of Una, you know what I mean, partly because of your guys." Yo, that's not a terrible thing. It's not a terrible thing. That shows a level of commitment to the family.
Yep.
You understand where I'm coming from?
Yep.
Somebody told me something today. I was talking to a brother, man, today, and he said to me, one of the issues with women today in marriage, I wouldn't even say women, people today in marriage, is that um, they would rather get rid of the responsibilities to be free than to hold on to the responsibility and see it as a blessed chain.
Oh my God. Have you read this yet?
No, I didn't, man. No, 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 I haven't. No, man. No, no, no. Uh-oh. Look who's on. Look who's
P
on. Look who's on.
P,
Look who's
huh?
on. Look who's on. Look who's on.
Sade.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a problem.
It's gonna be a
Uh,
problem tonight.
it's gonna be
It's
a
gonna be a
problem.
problem
I mean,
tonight.
I love it. This right here. P, pick up the book and read it.
Okay. I will.
I read the book through, read
Okay.
it a second time, and I promise you, I'll probably read it 3 or 4 more times. This,
What does she have to say? What does Sade have to say on this?
the issue is that too often people are sinking the ships because of their toxic behaviors instead of sinking it to save and preserve the integrity of the relationship. Oh yeah.
Lord Jesus. Wow.
I'd rather
Convenient.
hold on to this thing that's causing that I adore, that's
Yeah.
causing trouble in my relationship, than, you know what, sink that thing and hold on to the
Sink,
relationship.
sink that thing and hold on to it. Convenience over covenant is the trend today.
Yep, yep, yep.
Wow, that's deep, bro.
It's funny, P, because we're having this discussion a lot more with a number of different groups on a regular basis.
It's true.
I've come to the realization though that there's 3 types of Christians, 3
Okay.
types of, let me not say that, 3 types of people. But
Okay.
since we just in the context, I'll say Christians, right? But it's
Right.
really 3 types of people. TJ and I were talking about it on the cruise. I know E's been touching it a lot lately as well. But you are either interested,
Mm-hmm.
committed,
Mm-hmm.
or convicted.
Interested,
Interested
committed.
meaning like, okay, we'll see. I might even do it for a little bit of while.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm not really committed to it. Committed, I'm a little bit more in. I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing it on a regular basis until something comes along and shakes my commitment.
Wow.
But convicted says, hell or high water, I don't care what happens.
I'm in.
Captain said, I don't care what happens. They not getting this ship. He was convicted.
All right, so let's look at integrity of relationships. I mean, you have a lot of people in divorce court. You got a lot of people separating. You got a lot of people living together,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just saying, but living separately.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying that there are opportunities of healing? It's just whether someone has the patience for the healing?
Absolutely. What I realized, she just said it. In
It's
essence,
more
what we
convenient.
want,
It's more convenient to walk away.
it is. And we want the results of, we want great things without having to go through anything to get it. And anything worth having, you're going to have to go through something to get it.
Wow. Wow, dog.
That's why
Wow.
the book is called, like, for real. The author, Peter Scazzero, he starts talking about spirituality without emotional intelligence,
Intelligence.
maturity is dangerous.
Wow. Okay.
And then he starts linking it back to the way that he grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, none of us, he says, like, don't get it twisted. Every family is broken.
Something wrong.
Every family.
Something wrong.
Something's wrong. Everybody's
Something
dealing
wrong.
with something.
Yeah.
And you don't get to necessarily walk away clean without having to deal or find a way to deal with or become a little bit more healthy with, right? Just look at the
Right.
way we handle all our difficulties and challenges now. Where did that come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, who the way that we, the way that I value faith is because of now, not like the first marriage. I was there for that too. My sister don't remember it too much. By the time they were already divorced, but when she was still a baby. But you
Mm.
know what I'm saying? Like, when my father got married a second time and my stepfather married my mother, I got to see a little bit differently
Okay.
how that looks, right?
Uh-huh.
Do the knowledge. Look what he says. And he's talking about the emotional side of this thing.
Uh-huh.
Very few people emerge out of their families of origin emotionally whole or mature. In my early years of ministry, I believed the power of Christ could break any curse, so I barely gave any thought to how the home I'd left long ago might still be shaping me. And after all, didn't Paul teach in 2 Corinthians 5:17 that when you become a Christian, old things pass away and all things become new? But Christ has taught me I had to go back and understand what those old things were in
Word.
order for them to begin passing away.
How's about that? How about this? A lot of us as men, we can't identify with our past. And we look at it and we say, oh, that's what it was. But recognizing we built foundations that's bringing us that's walking with us, that's coming with us.
You
And we don't
built
want to admit it.
constructs. Yes, sir.
We
You
don't want to admit it.
No, sir.
There's a
Why?
lot. Mm.
We don't do vulnerability well because in order to do that,
No.
you got to be vulnerable to do that.
Well, part of vulnerability is being afraid that somebody's going to bring that crap up again. You see, that's why. You're not healed. That means you got to trust your spouse with the stuff you talk about. You got to trust your spouse with the stuff that, from the stuff that you've been dealing with. Because here it is, man. To be vulnerable is to be truthful till it hurts.
Bro, till it hurts. And
Till it hurts.
I don't think any of us have been truthful with ourselves. Well, let me not say that. Men find it difficult to be truthful with themselves to the point of hurt.
Mm. Wow.
I get weird, P.
When
my stuff is exposed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And once again, because I grew up in a house with 5 women, and you need to do that, and you did that, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it almost felt like sometimes like I was the brunt of the bad relationships that all of them went through. You know what I'm saying? You're the one male in the house, so they tried not to, but sometimes they couldn't help it.
But here it is again, right? Let's say, remember now, that's how you felt, because that's not what you were. Being the only male in the house, there is an engrafted responsibility that you have, or that you feel that you have. That I was seeing I was talking to a gentleman sometime. I can't, if I don't want to pinpoint it, right?
Yeah, no
who said when his father left,
you
man, at 15, he felt that he was the man of the house.
That's crazy.
And when he disappointed his mother, it brought him down to like, I can't do nothing right.
Yeah.
Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
I think a lot of us don't realize, a lot of men don't realize, or maybe a lot of women don't realize the impact that a boy has and a man has when he cannot hold his family together, or told that he doesn't have to, or sees that he doesn't have to. So there you are, man, with 5 women in the house, older, younger, whatever, grandma, mom, auntie, whoever is in the house or whatever. Something goes wrong in their relationship, and you're saying to yourself, what did I just do wrong? Let me tell you something. I have nothing against the homosexual. I have nothing against the LGBTQ, whatever let me say it right. I have nothing against the LGBTQAI community at all. But man, the more I read my Bible and the more that I spend time with people, right, I recognize that there's something about a male that, I don't care what his persuasion is, that has taken on responsibility that's in their DNA. And part of that responsibility is preserving integrity. And we as men can't preserve integrity if we're never taught how.
That's why,
if we don't see it.
A lot of men are angry because they've never been, like, they're behaving a particular way that is counterproductive to integrity, and they're frustrated with it. And they're frustrated because no one, like you said, has taught them how to, because it's really what we want. We innately want it.
Yeah. I was talking to this dude the other day, man. Christian, right? Christian. I didn't say Adventist, right? I didn't say Baptist. I didn't say Moravian. I didn't say It's a Christian dude.
Yeah.
My dude was like, yo, I think I want 2 wives.
I want 2? Yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
A hard time barely managing the
good
one
luck
I got.
handling one.
I can't. Yeah.
Do you recognize it's much easier to have 10 children and 1 wife than to have 1 kid and 10 wives?
Bro, I promise you, many women's perceptions of a healthy man is based on what she longed for, which continues a cycle of toxic male behavior. Sade.
Yeah.
Mercy.
What does she do? What does she do for a living? Do you know what she does for a living? Sunday, write down, what do you do for a living? Because I'm tired of you.
MED on a what's her name? I'm gonna tell you exactly.
She better write a book. If she don't write a book, then that's a problem.
She need to.
Man. So that's serious right there.
Bro.
So let me look at this here. One of the things I like what she said. Go back what she said. Which one did you just read?
This the one here that's the third to last. Many women's perception of a healthy man is based on what she longed for, which constitutes a cycle of toxic male behavior.
No, it continues a cycle. Continues a cycle of toxic
because she got behavior. That from somewhere.
Oh man, got that.
Yep.
I wish it was a pill you can take to be a great man.
Yeah. Oh, that's why she got masters in education. That's what it is.
Oh, that's it. You just looked her up. That's where it comes from. Yeah, let's see if we can get her on, man. See if she'll come on.
Oh, you already know if she gonna come. That's the whole.
We can get her on. If we can get her on, that'll be great.
Yeah,
So
shouts out. Who was it?
anyone who would like to
About this?
join us today to talk about male, because we're going to go into the mindset of the affirmation of a male, the affirmation of a man.
Who?
Just come on, join us real quick. Wow, the numbers are popping up. And then I'm going to ask, if you will, just take this moment, share it with somebody. Come on, share it with somebody. We're going to go a little
Share,
bit deeper.
share,
Share it,
share,
share it with somebody. We're going to go a little deeper. And
share.
I'm enjoy what I enjoy about this, right, is the fact that by the time we're finished, we have over 800 folk that have been on, and I think it's exciting, man.
Yeah,
Where
man.
we get to have the conversations that helps men become not just providers, but people who are responsible for keeping the integrity.
Well, I will say this.
Mhm.
When I was reading, man, let me. Who was it? Natasha that told us about. Was it Natasha that told us about this book?
Yes, it was. Yeah,
It was.
yeah.
Shouts
Mhm.
out to her because this thing is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So he says that there's 5 parts to all of us, right?
Okay.
The emotional, the social, the intellectual, the spiritual, and the physical. One more time. 5 parts to all of us:
Go ahead.
emotional, social, intellectual, spiritual, physical. He said, ignoring any aspect of who we are as men and women made in God's image always results in destructive consequences in our
Mhm.
relationship with God, with
Mhm.
others, and with ourselves. Emotional underdevelopment, however, is not so obvious when we first meet people. Over time, as we become involved with them, that reality becomes readily apparent. He said, I ignored the emotional component in my seeking of God for 17 years, and the spiritual discipleship approaches of the churches and ministries that shaped me did not have the language, theology, or training to help me in this area.
Ooh. So is the church? So is the church jacking up, my dude?
Yo, because here's the funny thing about us in terms of the church, like
Ooh.
especially if you part of our church, it's all about education and you know what I'm saying, like for real, like how much you know. And so because of that, there's this kind of strange dynamic that you can't say I don't know. Because then immediately there's this idea that you might get ostracized or treated differently because okay, you're not a part of the elite group that is read the, you know what I'm saying? You're not a part of
Yeah.
the Sadducees and the Pharisees. Sit down somewhere.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we front like we do, and nothing against pastors, right? Because you a pastor, you my dude. But there are some pastors who feel that because they preach well, that they can coach well or counsel well.
Come on. Come on. Stop it. Stop
And
it.
I'll leave that
Stop
right
it,
there.
dude. Stop it.
I'll leave that right there. Shireen is called it's called Emotionally Healthy Spirituality by Peter Scazzaro. Emotionally Healthy Spirituality by Peter Scazzaro. Get ready though. You going Shireen, if you read this book, just put a mouthpiece in your mouth because he's gonna knock out all your teeth. He's gonna knock out all your teeth.
Ooh. Come on now. Come on now. This is amazing, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, you know, that little lady is on right now. So we're
Yeah,
gonna bring her, we're gonna
with
take
a
her out.
homie. With a
We're
homie
gonna
at.
bring her in. We're gonna bring her in.
With a homie.
There we go.
You know
There
what
we
I'm
go.
saying? You know what I'm saying? Let me do it like how they be doing that. You know what I'm saying? Let me throw the you know.
Good to, it's good. It's good to see you. It's good to see you.
Good to see you
You know,
guys.
Yeah,
hey man, listen. Desiree made a statement. Desiree made a statement here. You know Desiree, she's from Lebanon.
yeah.
She said, Jesus increased in wisdom, intellect, stature, physical, and in favor, emotional with God, spiritual, and man,
Yep.
social.
Yep. Yep.
That
That's why
means
I
that
know.
means
Yeah.
five. Come on, man.
Part.
It's got to be
Yeah. And
covered.
my man said if you ignore any one of those, then it's destructive to
So that
yourself.
means four. That means four won't do. Dude, it's like the commandments, right? Nine won't do.
Nope.
Get out of here. All right. I
What
got you. I
Hezekiah
got you.
said, 99 and a half won't do. Lord, I'm running,
Lord,
trying
I'm
to make
running,
100
trying to make
because
100.
99 and a half won't do.
Nah, no sir, no
That's
sir.
it.
So Sade, you made a comment earlier, Jesus wept, and I know there's some statements behind that. You want to break that down for us?
Mhm.
I was just talking to a friend today about how a lot of men will say emotion is a feminine thing.
Ooh.
Emotion is something that women do. Women
Yeah,
are emotional.
I get
But I
mad.
think men are, and I think it goes to childhood where boys are told you can't cry, don't be a little whatever. You have to be a man. And then as a grown woman, I'm expecting you in a relationship with me to be emotional is unfair. But
Mm.
through the Bible, there were men who cried. There were men who wanted to commit suicide. There were men who wanted to just be done with life. And then there was Jesus who literally wept. And I don't think we understand what weeping is. Weeping is not, oh, I'm crying. Weeping is I'm gasping
Ballin'.
for
Oh,
air.
Yeah,
I'm trying
yeah,
to
yes,
get it all
yes.
together. But then men will say, well, that's what women do. And it's like, but if your Christ did it, why can't you? But
If
again, it's
your Christ did it.
right.
you know what's funny about that too, Sade? Is that there are women who are told the same thing, that while they're little, like, yeah, you don't want no man who, you know what I'm saying, and boys shouldn't cry. And they're witnesses to either counterparts, brothers, cousins being raised and told the same thing. And then when they get with a man that's emotionally mature and he weeps, he's chastised for it.
Yeah, and
Wow.
I would say, when I was a child, I spake as a child, right? Because I used to say the only time a man could cry with me is at my wedding, at the birth of our child, and at a funeral.
Mhm.
Those were the only three acceptable times that I, as a young woman, would deem it necessary for a man to cry, because I was uncomfortable because I don't know what to do when you cry because I've never seen it. Those are the only times I've ever seen a man cry.
Absolutely.
So
See?
I don't know what to do with you cry. Like, what, sir? Get it together. It wasn't until I started working with children where I was like, this is something that we have to rectify in our community, where it's okay for you to cry. It
Yeah.
doesn't make you less of a boy, less of a man to cry, but I have to be anchored in myself to know, how do I respond to you in a way to where it encourages you to keep doing that.
Man, it is.
I appreciate you saying that. You've because as a young lady, looking at why men should be crying, if a man comes in and he sees that his son is or his children are fighting, I'm gonna give you one, right? The little boy and his little sister, they're fighting. One hits the other one is crying. They're shouting back and forth, and he brings them both together and he cries, right? He cries because this is not what he wants. He cries because he's been through that as a kid growing up. He cries before. I mean, there could be many
Because
reasons
history
why
is
he cries.
repeating itself.
Okay. And then a woman will look at him and be like, yo, just send him to their room. You know what I mean? Or give him some lickings, give them something to cry about, give them something to cry about. Right. I think it's still women who see men cry. Uh, um, it takes away their affirmation. It pulls away their affirmation. I cannot affirm a man that cries. But I think that a woman who is healthy mentally, socially, the whole nine, affirms a man who can show his emotions. So let's forget about crying, but who can show his emotions.
Mhm.
In a
Or
way, healthy way,
okay,
though. In a healthy way. Because when you're angry, I don't need you punching a wall.
That's it.
Like,
well, if
anger
you,
is an emotion. I
I
need you to
think,
know how to do that in a healthy way.
I think angry sex is healthy.
Okay.
See,
Well,
I don't know. I might have to lean to your side. You let your animal instinct run wild.
sure, sure. So if there's angry sex, if there's angry sex happening, it gives her the opportunity to tame that beast.
Yes, please tame this beast.
What we have to understand is,
What
as
we have to understand is
What we have to understand. Come on.
right? It wasn't until I worked with children in foster care. And I worked with children who were literally, like in Texas, we have levels. The top level is a 4. All of my students, all of my kids were 4. So I'm trying to understand. And I had a little boy who, when it was time for dinner, he would always sit on the floor and he would eat his food on the floor. And I was like, I would ask the parents, I'm like, what is going on? And they were like, we don't know. I built so much rapport with him that he told me, well, I used to have to eat with the dogs.
What?
And I was like, it's what I do in this moment that will forever shape and change how he sees me.
Yeah.
Now, I said, just because you ate with I could have condemned him for continuing the behavior, or I could understand, what comfort do you find in that? Like, I had to be intentional with the next hour I spent with him, because I understood that will forever shape how he sees me, how he sees women of color, because he's a little white boy with white foster parents. I'm the only Black woman in his life. And from that moment on, I was like, I have to be intentional whenever a man is open enough to say, Sade, this is why I do what I do. And I can't condemn you. I have to sit with you and try to understand, how do we change the behavior? And do you even see a problem with the behavior?
I'm stuck on. I'm so used to eating with the dogs.
Foster care will change your life. Working with children and especially young boys. I had a young man that when he would get upset, he would defecate himself. And he wouldn't tell anybody why. He's like, that's the only time my mom would hold me. Like, and he's verbalized this. He's 7 years old. And I had in my system, let's say I had a caseload of 23. 20 of them were boys. And their behaviors were because this is what got me attention. This is what made me feel validated. This was the only way I could get a response that wasn't negative from my parents. So I'm going to keep doing that behavior, not knowing that it's toxic anywhere else but where I'm at.
Wow.
So I need to add it, because while you were talking, I was trying to find the area. Augustine wrote in Confession in AD 400, how can you draw close to God when you are far from your own self? Right? And then Peter writes in the book, he says, the problem, however, is that we can't reflect and respond thoughtfully to our feelings if we don't know what they are. So much of our true selves is buried alive: sadness, rage, anger, tenderness, joy, happiness, fear, depression. Yet God designed our bodies to respond physiologically to those in the world around us. God speaks to us through a knot in the stomach, muscle tension, trembling and shaking, the release of adrenaline into our bloodstream, headaches, and a suddenly elevated heart rate. God may be screaming at us through our physical body while we look for and prefer a more spiritual, quote unquote, signal. The reality is that often our bodies know our feelings before our minds. When I speak about the need to pay attention to our emotions, I often hear comments such as these: I'm not very good at feelings. I really don't have time for this. Anyway, my family was more about doing. Or, I don't know what I'm feeling. It's all a big blur. Or, at times when I'm about to interact with authority figures or somebody I don't know, I get physical sensations, but I don't know what is happening. Or sometimes I'm flooded by emotions that disorganize and confuse me. So there's a list of all of these different things that he's saying. But the truth of the matter is, we feel what we feel, and we're frustrated because we have no idea what we're feeling.
But it takes somebody saying, like, when I would do my therapy with any of my children, I would always say, tell me where it hurts. You're crying right now.
Yep.
But before you got here, tell me, where does it hurt? And they would point and they say, I feel it in my chest. I feel it in my head. And it's helping them. And what's sad is the burden for some women when we get in relationships is I have to kind of coddle you like a child when it comes to your emotions, because no one's ever asked you those questions.
No one ever asks you. No one is asking you, how do you feel?
What triggers you? Like, what? Okay, you just yelled at me for what I deem no reason. What did I say or do that did that? Not so I can throw it back in your face, so that I don't do that again.
So that I don't do it again.
So,
Oh my
because
gosh.
if I understand I'm a trigger, I may have to change how I talk to you. I may have to change how we navigate certain situations. But if I'm always on the defense of you're wrong, I'm right, I'm not listening to. Wait, why did you just yell? Why did you shut down? You shut down on me last night. Can you tell me what happened? Well, I don't want to
So
talk
how do you,
about it.
okay, here's a question for those who are on right now listening. And you know what, I'm noticing that uh there's a lot of statements coming up on my Facebook page that I'm not seeing on here. So I'm looking at a couple of things right here, right? And um man, folks are saying things. And Gerlin, she's from Carolina. Where you at? I hope I said your name right. Gerlin Lawson. It is a huge honor when a man trusts you and feels safe enough with you to lean on you and cry. As women, we are tasked with creating a safe enough environment for that level of vulnerability without judgment, so he can show up in the fullness of his manhood. Hugh manhood, she says. I mean, I think that's amazing when a woman can say, "Brother, cry on me." You know, less than you're not less than a man to do that. But how about those kids that you're talking about, Sade, who who can't cry, right? I guess that's why they feel it right here. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you're ever going to hear a kid that says, "I feel it right here." He's feeling it right here and feeling it right here. And I think, man, it's amazing sometimes how, because this is a man show, sorry, right? Because a man this discussion, that a lot of times I feel that we as men, um, we just we cannot express ourselves, and then we end up expressing ourselves and finding comfort in somebody else's arms.
So let's there's two things. To the point of women, and I have to balance it out, right? I'm not going to
Mhm.
create a safe place for you if I feel like you don't create a safe place for me.
Wow. Okay. That's
So
relationship right there. That's
That's
relationship right
and
there.
that's health speaking.
Right.
yeah, like I'm not going to sit up here and create a healthy place for you to come and give me your emotions if when I do the same to you, I get nothing. So you have a lot of people who they're in relationship with each other, but emotionally, I'm giving that to other people because you've shown me one too many times that I can't trust you with that.
Okay.
And so I don't believe people intentionally go in saying, I want to give this person all of me except my feelings. It's just, I'm going to try one, two, three, four, five times. But if I keep coming to you and you're not even trying to meet that emotional need, that's when I say, you know what, this guy at work, he lets me talk to him all day.
Pause for a moment. Pause for a moment.
Woo!
Now you're talking to the dynamic of love and respect.
Wow.
Because what you refuse to do, because the way that women are loved is not through what we think it. Like we love, break us off and we know you love us. You know what I'm saying? You break me
Right,
off on a
right.
regular basis. Like, oh, she loved me. You know what I'm saying? Like when we're in relationship, women are a little bit different because they're more emotionally intelligent. So that's not what their emotions are limited to, right? And so it's funny that how the two are interdependent upon one another, because you break a dude off, you can't get him to shut up. You know what I'm saying? However,
You can
if you
get him to
speak,
stop crying
oh,
or cry.
you know what I'm saying? Or the flip side is if you connect emotionally with a woman and meet that need where her heart is like, she gonna break you off every every chance she get. You
But
know what I'm
here's the thing.
saying?
She's it's not it's more than she's going to cater to you.
Yes.
I'm
But
gonna make
when
sure
you
you're fed. I'm gonna make sure every room in the house you're gonna be taken care of.
But what you said, Sade, speaks to the need. This is not what we want. This is the way God created us, and this is what we need. So if she needs emotional connection and you only thinking about physical connection, but the dude at the job who always meet her at the water cooler, like, Sade, that's a beautiful dress you got on today. What's going on with the family? How is that? You know what I'm saying? How look, oh girl, the nails are nice. You killing them today,
Oh,
ain't you?
oh, you smell nice. What is that?
I'm telling you,
And
what is that?
she answers soap.
You know what I'm saying? And he was like, well, tell me what the soap is. I'm going to make sure you have it on a regular basis. Like, but whatever it is that causes her to hear that and feel that emotional feeling. And you ain't doing that at all.
That's my grandmother always said this, right? And she was very straightforward about it. She said that if you're not taking care of your wife, somebody else is.
Oh yeah.
Somebody else is. And remember, taking care of, we're learning this, right? Or we know this, but we're reminded, taking care of your wife is not betting her, right? It's taking care of your wife or even a significant other, right? Or a girlfriend or boyfriend or what have you. I hate to say boyfriend and girlfriend, but the fact of the matter is that if you're not taking care of their emotional needs, if you're not taking care of, I mean,
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, if you're not doing that, then I like the book. I haven't I've never read it, but we're not too intelligent. We're not too intelligent.
But I think that's why a lot of people need to go sit in front of somebody and talk, right? Because there's a question like, our ladies want men to express their emotions, but do the ladies know what to do with it? There's the other side. I was raised in a single parent household. My mother was of a bank. Okay. I didn't see emotion unless it was at the top of the, like, so I had to learn. I had to go sit in therapy and learn. Okay, Sade, you can't, when you get mad, you can't shut down and then expect the person that you're mad at not to shut down as well.
Come on.
Wow.
A lot of people are jumping into relationships and not even just like, let's take this out of future spouse, just a lot of people aren't good friends because it's about me. So I don't know how to be selfless. I don't know how to, when you cry or when you're going through something, not to make it about myself. So then we have a lot of people, and what I've seen in the men dynamics is we can talk about everything that people do wrong. I have male friends where when they talk, I'm like, y'all are talking about like somebody just died and y'all talking about a football game. Like, what are we deflecting from? Why is it so hard for you guys just to sit here and say, this sucks, I want to cry?
Wow.
Or when
I want to pause for a second again. I know that we're looking at these numbers and it's jumping, but I just, as we're continuing on, I'm going to ask if you all take the time out to share this with 2 or 3 people. And I want to just share this with you. Corel Bailey, if you had something to say, I sent you a link to come on. Donovan Lovelace, I sent you a link to come on. Anybody who you feel you have something to say concerning men, emotional, or even something that you're hearing, man, just hit me on my inbox on Facebook, right? And or if you know my number, you can hit me on my text. And I'll send you a link to just jump on real quick. Okay.
I meant to tell you too, the reason why you might not see those comments in here is because you don't have the stream set to public. So like when you're in Facebook, if you click those 3 little dots and then hit edit audience, change it to public. You could do it right while we on here, just so we can see the comments in the thing.
I got you. Thank you, man. Thank you. That's why you here and I'm there.
I just thought about it a while ago.
Got you.
Yeah. Robert Kennedy asked something. He said, is it possible that we process faster or differently? I believe that men have been trained to process slower and think through emotional things differently. Because again, if you are told, like I worked in a school K through 12, and I have seen female teachers tell little boys, don't cry. I'm the school counselor sitting here like, why can't he cry? Why? Because that's not what boys are supposed to do. No, that's your belief. His belief is that he's hurt and he wants to cry. So we're going to let him cry. But I think that those small, what we consider small interactions of don't cry, big boys don't cry, you cry like a girl, you do this like a girl. It tells you you're not allowed to have emotions and process them like a human. Well, we have to take male and female roles off emotions because emotions are a human reaction, not a gender specific reaction.
It's amazing. To your point, it's amazing when you go to the funeral and all the dudes got dark shades on in the building.
And they doing this.
Hold on. No, hold on. They're doing this.
Yep. Because they don't want nobody to. And I'm talking about the shades, bro. We could see the tears running down your face, partner. We know you crying.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. Yo, it's
And
okay to hear a sermon. It's okay to hear a sermon, brother, and it hits you.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay to hear a song. Yo, the other day, man, I played this song. Yo, listen, man, it was on the great Sabbath evening, not Sabbath afternoon. It was like Friday night. Man, I was thinking of this song, man. I just wanted to cuddle, but I just wasn't thinking the song Tomorrow. You know what I mean? I just wasn't thinking. I just wasn't there, man. And I said to Alexa, play My Love Sweet Love by My Love Sweet Love by Patti LaBelle. And man, my wife said to me,
"Oh, you grown?
I don't remember. I never remembered the words to that song.
You grown."
Needless to say, we fell asleep, but I'm just saying that it emotionally hit me as I listened to it, man. It emotionally hit me that we are allowed to feel, we're allowed to say, I love you. We're allowed to say, I long for you. Brother, you're allowed to text your wife or your girl and say, yo, I miss you in the middle of the day. Because if a brother don't get that from his girl, he's like, yo, she ain't thinking about me.
So,
well, why can't you send it over?
You know why? Because we don't want to deal with the rejection if she don't receive it well. There's a particular that's once again the vulnerability. We have to, let me tell you something. We have to be able to take hits and deal with difficulties in relationships. This is the reason why I'm saying don't run from this stuff. When I'm coaching couples and I'm like, yo, I did, and I felt, say what you felt. What did you feel? I felt unvalidated. I felt like all these feelings that men feel. Like I felt rejected. Then I ask her, perception is reality. It may not be real, like real, but because it's in your brain. So let's reverse this now. Then when I asked the wife, is that what you were trying to do? Were you, trying to reject him? And she was like, no, I just was doing X, Y, and Z. And my mind just wasn't there at the time. This is the reason why communication is so important.
And this is also why we have to get out of, in education, we have charts that you ask children, how do you feel? And it's like your red's on your yellows on blue. And I always tell teachers, I hate those charts. I said, because I do. Because we'll say angry. And when I sit down and talk to a child, it's like, you're angry, but tell me why. And they'll start to tell, I said, you sound disappointed. But I've told you that you have to fit into these box of words instead of helping you explore and expand your vocabulary. You're disappointed, you're frustrated, you feel rejected. They didn't call on you first and you got upset. No. You felt overlooked. But it's hard for me to teach you that at 40.
You said at what? You said at what? At what?
At 40.
At 40.
30.
What? She's not calling numbers. She's not calling numbers. She's not being vulnerable. She's not being vulnerable. No, hey, listen.
It's hard to do if you've never been given the freedom to do it before.
I got you. Hey, we got somebody else on right now, Correll Bailey from the great, I would say Richmond, but she's really a New Yorker, I think, right? I don't know where. You
I am a New Yorker.
Don't play. Come on, she's over there. She runs the money at Sligo. That's all I'm saying. I'm just letting everybody know she runs the money at Sligo. Correll, I saw you put up an interesting thought up there, and I just want to hear your thoughts. I just want to hear your thoughts on what we're speaking about. Anything at all. This is unscripted, so you're not going to get a script and say what's what. What's your thoughts?
So it was mainly about what Sade was talking about when she was referencing foster children because my husband and I were foster parents in the city of Richmond for almost a decade.
Wow.
And we actually have adopted 2 children from foster care. And what we've learned through that experience is that they experience trauma before they even have memories. And so, specifically with my younger son, who we have learned he's 7, almost 8, we got him when he was 16 months old. And he didn't know how to do things like play. We had to teach him those types of things. So now, once he started and got into a school environment, that's when we started seeing emotional dysregulation. Okay. And so, but he doesn't know how to communicate. This is how I feel. You think that
Ah.
a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, they can say, I'm happy, I'm sad. But my son couldn't do that. So now, kind of like what Shadi was talking about, you have to teach him how to connect how he feels in his mind based off of what he's feeling in his body. But you think about neurotypical people, right, who grow up and don't have that type of environment when people do that for them. So now you're going to have grown men who they feel something in their body, but they don't have the words to connect that feeling because nobody ever took the time to teach them that.
Woo. Lord Jesus.
The one thing I tell people all the time, especially because I used to be a consultant for people who wanted to adopt, they were like, I want a baby. I want a baby that's fresh out the womb. And what I would tell them is, you still don't know what you're getting because trauma starts in the womb.
Mm-hmm.
A child feels that. A child, an embryo, the little thing that's in your belly is kicking. That stress that the mother feels is passed on to that child, and that child comes out already predisposed to so many things because that's where trauma starts. And so we have to kind of get out of that mindset of, oh, it's okay. It's okay. It'll happen. It'll develop. For some people, it never happens.
Okay, so Carell, let me ask you this question. So are there men? Do you believe that there are many men out there that cannot express their feelings because they just were not taught to? They've been suppressed to. They and do you look at that as trauma?
Yeah, it is trauma because their brains have lost this natural connection that you have to feel. So now you've been programmed to disconnect yourself from your feelings. So if you grow up with that and you are practicing that, now that disconnection becomes permanent trauma. And so now you're trying to undo that trauma as an adult in a relationship and have a healthy relationship. How can you do that?
Jeez.
Once again, if it goes back to that whole thing we were talking about before, if you can't properly interact with yourself, how are you going to interact with anybody else?
Man. So here's the scary part. I'm talking to the only single person in this quad right here. All right. Because Carell's married, I'm married. There we go. There we go. Right. What about the fear now? Right. Serious on it. Think about the fear that let's just say I don't believe in someone being up there in age before marriage. I just don't believe in that. Okay.
Mhm.
I believe it's your time. Okay. So
Right.
in your time, meeting someone, isn't it now important that as you meet a guy that you can't just willy-nilly get up and get married? You got to dig a little deeper.
I, the questions that I ask now reflect what I want for my future. I ask, what is your family's mental health history? I ask, how do you deal with, not like how do you deal with you're upset? How do you feel? How do you deal with when you're disappointed? I don't need to see you angry. I don't need to see you sad. I just need you, I need to hear how you think through it first. And a
Ooh.
lot of times what I've experienced is men who they look good on paper, everything is there, but then when we have a disagreement, you gonna give me the silent treatment for a day because
Stonewall.
we
Yes,
didn't
sir.
agree on something. So if you're doing that now, and what my therapist has taught me is the person that you're with, if nothing changes in the next 10 years, would you be happy? My answer is no. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and walk away.
Yep.
Wow. So Carell, how do you handle now your how many children you have? Three?
We have 3.
Three. All three are adopted?
No, only 2. Our 2
Only two.
youngest. Our oldest is our only biological child.
Okay. So and the two last ones are boys or boy to girl?
A boy and a girl.
Okay. Let's go to the boy for a second. All right. You now, you and your husband, I'm gonna put it this way. Because he's not on to defend himself or what have you. How does your husband now play a role? Not mom, but how does your husband now play a role in his development, knowing where he's coming from? What kind of advice would you give your husband? What kind of conversation you can have with him? And if you want to plead the fifth, you can plead the fifth. But I'm telling you that even though I think you do a good job, I think he'll do a greater job.
So it's funny.
Or working together. So go ahead. Just school me, please.
It's funny because my son relates better to my husband than he does to me. And that's primarily what we have learned through family therapy, is a lot of his trauma came from his mother. So while he does not, like, if he talks about me, my son talks about me, he loves me, he thinks we have a great relationship, but in his brain sees me as the figure of his trauma. So he relates to my husband. And so my husband a lot of time has to be the bridge for my son and I. But then that means my husband has to tap into like repressed memories that he may have had from when he was a child. And so it takes a lot of patience. Sometimes he gets frustrated. He has to walk away and then come back. So it's a process for him too. In order for him to try and teach our son how to be emotionally whole, he has to go check himself first.
Facts.
Yes.
To see if he's in the right space. And if he is, they can have a conversation. If he's not,
tag you're it.
Away. Yeah.
Or tag you're it.
Yeah.
You should say that. As a matter of fact, I just started speaking to my therapist again because I'm like, I think I'm in a different season now, and I think it's time for me to start coming back into the office to talk with you. There are times where I catch my behavior in response to a difficult situation, and I'll sit and be like, where did that come from? And I'll take a day and two and think about it and think about it and think about it. If day 3, day 5, day 7 comes around and I still can't bring no closure to where that come from to make the adjustment, I'm calling the therapist up. Let's talk. I got to get something straight. Right.
So, but when you talk about calling a therapist, right? I mean,
for me, that kind of stuff is common sense, though, B.
But it's not for me.
Because here's the funny thing.
It's not for me because it's not for me.
Let me put it like this.
Okay.
When your car won't start and you can't nail down what the issue is with your car, what you do? You call who?
Call the mechanic.
Okay, good. The mechanic. If the toilet don't flush, right? If something's wrong with the toilet, and like you can't identify who you call. Then if something's wrong, the water not flowing right through, who you call?
My wife. I mean the plumber.
Right? If you want to buy a computer but you're not quite sure what to buy, you're gonna call somebody who's well versed in IT who could give you information. I find it crazy that you know how to call this person for this. You know how to call the landscaper for your yard. You know how to call the carpenter if you knock a hole in the you move in furniture and knock a hole in the sheetrock. You know who to call for all of these different things. Why is it when something is not clicking here the way that it should, we won't go to a therapist? Why is that?
You want to know the answer?
Yeah.
Our parents, nobody modeled for us how to do it. A lot of us are the first people in our family to seek mental health help. So I don't, if I need my lawn done, I call because I saw my mom do it. If something's broken, but I don't see me crying for 3 days as me being broken. I see it as I need to go to church more. That's what I've been told. My faith is weak. Or, I'm not trusting God enough in this situation.
Ooh.
I've never been told, Sade, you may be dealing with depression right now. Like you may be having a spout. And so we're parenting ourselves in a way when it comes to our mental health, because I can say with all I never saw my mother go sit, and she'll say she ain't never go sit and talk to nobody about nothing. She talked to her mother, and then they talked to God about it. But I said, something ain't right.
Yeah, but that's me, because I'm like, okay, I watched this with grandma, I'm watching it with you, and now it's happening with me. Something ain't right here. And that's why I'm a firm believer in the fact that information applied changes situations. I'm into results. If I'm not getting none, or like I'm worried about my children, I love them to death, I don't want them dealing with the same stuff that I watched come down. I can't.
But the other thing is, you have different resources than your parents. You know, like I'm 38, single with no children. At my age, my mother had a 16-year-old, a 15. So I'm able to move differently.
Yeah.
I'm able to navigate life differently. I'm the first in my family to graduate from college. So there are different things that I've experienced that my mother and grandmother couldn't tap into. When I was at Oakwood, we had free therapy. I went. And it wasn't because I was just like, oh, so, it was just like, I want something different. And I know
you have free therapy at Oakwood?
Yeah, student services. Walk your happy self over there and go sign up.
Oh, that's crazy. Hey, was that? Hey, Peter ain't had that when you was in the building, did they?
Listen, go for a walk. Let me tell you what I used to do. I'm gonna tell you what I used to do, and I'm gonna show y'all something.
I love it.
Okay, I'm gonna show you something, because my brothers know. My brothers put it out there one time when I was stressed at school. Somebody just bought this for me. Somebody from England. See that joint?
Go fly a kite.
Yo, you see where the building is? What's it called? That building is with the regional conference building that's there now, and where Wade Hall is right now. So now you know I'm old. We're all right. It was cornfield before. I used to take my kite and put my problems on that joint and fly that bad boy. And by the time it came down, it would have ripped off and went into the. That was my therapy. Go and sign up for therapy. Yeah. Let me tell you something. Back then in the 80s, in the late 80s and early 90s, you sign up for therapy. My father would say, "What wrong with you?"
Yeah, baby.
So the crazy thing
nobody got talk it all of your business.
In 2006, one of my friends was going to therapy at Oakwood, and she was like, "I feel like we should do group therapy as a friend group. Just it's 6 of us, 6 girls. We trying to be better friends with each other." We had therapy from January to May. May 5th, 2006, my friends were killed in a car accident on our way home. My therapist from Oakwood met us at the hotel. And
you were in that accident?
Yeah, I was in the car that was in front of them.
The one that turned around on the medium? Are you serious?
I was in the car in front of them. The therapist met us there that night. Wow. And it wasn't, and we never, and people always ask, how are y'all able to talk about it? From January to May, every Tuesday, we sat in group therapy as a friend group, and we just learned each other.
See what I'm saying?
And so when I hear people say that, therapy, it's not needed, it prepares you for things that you don't even know are coming. And especially for men, there are so many free programs out there now. Black Men Heal, Black Men Therapy. They're giving away therapy because we understand that we as a community have not done right by y'all. We understand this, and so it's tapping into that. And it's not even saying I'm broken. It's saying I don't know what's going on.
But here's the funny thing too, Sade, is the fact that, like, for real, a lot of Black men are walking around depressed and don't even know that they are depressed, because nobody taught you that those were the symptoms. You thought that this was just a regular thing that happens when life's not going the way you want it to go.
Or you got to be in somebody's different bed every night is normal. That's not normal, sir.
It's not normal, but that is the created equilibrium for us.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna be. I'm gonna tell you that right there. Or if not, go back to what Carell was saying. We don't know how many people or how many men grew up this way. Listen, they didn't have to be in the foster. Didn't have to be in foster. They could be growing up with their uncles. They could be growing up with
with their fathers,
with their dads.
Thank you.
Can I say something real crazy right now? I know that there are a couple of pastors, and just because we're talking within the context of this, right? In our church, in leadership positions, not just pastors, who are dealing with all kind of sex stuff because they in depression and don't even know.
Listen, my man called me the other day. His name is he's a good therapist. His name is Kelvin Mitchell. He sent me a link about maybe about 5 months ago. He said ADHD. There's a level of ADHD that's linked to your sexuality. I never heard of nothing like that before. Like, you sit there and think that you're just a sinner, not even saved by grace. Your mind goes here, your mind goes there, because that's where your comfort level is. When you're told, when you reach a level of anxiety, right? And what takes, and you're driving and you see some woman who is summertime, and you take a look at her, it drops your anxiety. Or you understand where I'm coming from? Or you talk to some woman and it drops your anxiety. I didn't know that you can have ADHD, and in that ADHD, it leads you to that so that it will calm you down. I'm gonna tell you something, man. If you took half of, I'm not gonna say pastors, but leaders, right? If you took leaders and you dig a little deeper into how they cope, a lot of them is that sexual release. And a lot of them is that affirmation for release. You think where I'm coming from?
When I was in college, I did a paper and I got torn to shreds about this paper. But I said that one reason why a lot of pastors struggle with sexuality is because they're trying to preach themselves healthy.
Yes, ma'am.
Trying to preach yourself healthy. And we always say, oh, the enemy attacks them harder. He does not. You're trying to undo or fix something or make something right. So we have a lot of pastors who struggle with it's not their sexuality, it's their sexual health, because something else is broken. And this is what I'm going to tap into. This is
that part.
Okay, she said that part. I'm gonna say this to you. Another thing is, a lot of pastors, the sexual release, or I'm gonna say the endorphins, is power. When we are approached, or because I've been a ministerial leader before, and pastors still come to me and talk with me, and I'm so glad that they think I got it together. Okay, I'm so glad that they think I got it together. And the funny thing is that it is the power that gives them that release. And it's not just male pastors, it's also female pastors or female leaders and what have you. And see, again, the thing that's scary about what we're saying here, it always brings back, I'm going back to Carell for a second. My fear is, will someone say, I'm dealing with this, that, and the other because I'm broken? Will your son be able to say 15 years from now, 10 years from now, I was broken? We don't use those words as men, Carell. We don't use it at all.
No.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry. Danaman.
Hey.
Listen, you must behave yourself, on this one.
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Let me introduce you. This is Carell, and above is Sade. But I'm sure you know Quest. I'm sure you know Quest.
Yes, indeed.
Listen, man. I know that
Praise the Lord, everybody. That's all.
Yes, always change up. You know, you're in my head. Listen, man, I know that I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot, and if plead the fifth. You don't gotta, Paul, I'm not gonna answer that or whatever. We went to school together. Our parents somewhat grew up together. Your parents and my parents or whatever. When I look back, when you look back at your marriage, right? And I know that she's passed. I know that she's passed. Maybe I should ask this question. You're not married again, are you?
No.
Okay. If you're going to get married again, what would you reveal about yourself to this woman that you probably was not able to reveal to your wife? Your wife was passed.
Well, that's a good question.
You could plead the fifth. I'm
No.
you're all the way over there, and I'm here. You can't beat me from where you are.
No. Hear me out. I love these questions because these questions make you grow. Because even though you have it in your mind, you don't say it, or you don't speak about it unless somebody bring it up. So that I would share would be just being vulnerable, um, being honest. Those are the things that really, when you look at a relationship, that you have to find some security, and you have to develop that. So I think in the fourth, I think I put it in the chat that you have to find somebody who's going to protect your vulnerability, and that person, you have to kind of feel them out, because the infatuation part of it, they'll be like, yeah, and you feel you let your guards down, but then all of a sudden, when, like you said, something goes wrong, and they're like, well, I don't know how to handle your emotions. I don't know how to handle that, and then they go, and then you feel yourself alone. So I think that's what I'll bring to the next, you know, if I decide to do that again.
He said, if I decide to do that again.
Just because it's society's different now, man. When we were growing up, it's different now. And I've looked out there and I'm like, whoa, So I think mainly trying to be more focused on yourself and understanding yourself. And
Ooh, big. Slow down, Donovan, because that's heavy right there.
oh yeah, you got, especially when one of the things when my wife passed was I found my son being very clean. Wow, and he said something to me once. He said, when we lived in Florida, he said when we was living in Florida, we talked, because I brought my son everywhere, and we talk a lot. And one of the things he said to me is, I can talk to you now, because I guess because me and my wife Monique, her name was Monique. We kind of like he juggled between both of us, but now it's just me, and he's like that, like he's just unloading a lot of stuff. So I'm like, just trying to be there for him, and doing that is trying to, better myself, emotionally, mentally, physically, especially physically, man, because they.
What is the biggest advice you would give to him? How old is he now? And what is the greatest advice you would give to him now to be in becoming a man?
Follow God, man. To follow because we planted a lot. Monique and I planted a lot of because like you said, our family grew together. So that household, that family oriented household, we passed it on to him. So he's more, does his Sabbath school lessons, and so for me to pass something on to him would be, continue to follow the teachings that we've learned through our parents, being steadfast. But we haven't had the relationship girlfriend boyfriend conversation yet. We haven't had that.
Oh, yeah, have that yet. How old is he? How old is he now? How old is he?
He's 17. He's 17.
Listen, man, you must be.
You better start having that
You
relationship
better have that.
with him now.
Listen,
Yo.
He's having it somewhere.
ah, so hear me out. Hear me out. And
He said, hear me out.
I
Hear me
like
out.
that. I like that you brought that up because I always feel like if I don't talk to my son, somebody else will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
I
it don't
try
and
to
it
talk
don't and it
all
doesn't have to be a woman. It could be another brother showing him some
real, we're
way to go.
being real right now, right? I approach my son. Let me give you a good example. When I was young, right, I saw my dad. Before my dad became a Christian, and he used to drink, so he used to have a big belly. And he used to come home, and I was like, man, I do not want a belly like that.
No, sir.
So I use that. I mean, he's a Christian now, big in the conference and stuff like that. But and don't Paul, do not tell him the story.
Well, it's live. I mean, it's,
I don't know if he's going to, but nah, he's done. He's been a big transformation.
long time, years.
Yeah, but for me, I took that. I'm not gonna grow up like certain, people from the islands, the way they they treat each other. I don't know the way to express that. The way the culture of how they raise their kids.
I know exactly
We
what you're
know what you're saying.
I know what you're saying.
And sadly enough, it's in the same. Corella and Sade, are y'all Southern? Y'all Southerners?
Southern, yeah.
It's the same boat, bro. They dropped us off different places.
So what I did is that
We know how much clock I strike.
so I try to talk to them about everything, that I didn't get when I was in Jamaica or coming to this country. So, we cover pornography, we cover masturbation, we cover, sexuality between men and women, so we talk all about this. Sometimes he's like, Dad, not, but I want to make sure I'm the one that's telling these things because if somebody's out there that's not God fearing like my family is and has other intentions, I don't want them explaining to him, their version of it.
Yeah.
So that's what I would. That's what to answer your question. Those are the things that I would pass on to him. When it comes to relationship, I'm kind of because the society is breaking down men to the point where we're timid. They're not going up to women anymore. Everybody's in a little corner. So um, when that conversation come up, pray for me.
I got you.
But
I got you.
you said something though, Donovan, that was real strong a while ago. I mean, earlier on, and in essence, it's really something that we all need to pay attention to. At least those of us who are moving towards relationship, who may be listening. One of the things I was on this podcast with Dewan Matunga. He's like big in the podcast world in terms of like human behavior. He studies human behavior, and he asked me. He was just like, "Yo, what do you think is your best advice for someone who is moving towards relationship and then later on marriage?" And I was like, the young coach in me would probably tell him, ask all the questions that you need to ask, thorough questions, whatever. The same thing Sade was saying a while ago in terms about what do you want in the future, and then think about the behaviors that you have to, act out now that would be in connection with what you want later on. Ask all of those questions. But the sage in me says to invest in coaches, therapists, people who can help you be the very best version of yourself you can possibly be. Because when you're healthy and whole, your decision making is a little bit different. If you remain in your brokenness now without becoming the best version of yourself you're going to be, you're going to choose somebody out of your brokenness, and all they're going to do is be a reflection of who you are spiritually.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So brokenness begets brokenness. You feel me?
Right. Yeah.
And so if I'm not better, because let's keep it 100. The healthier you are, the better the decisions you make. You're right, because you're not people pleasing. You're not doing all of these things that, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the stuff that you make decisions for are in connection with all the surface stuff. When you are whole and healed from the inside out. That's where you make your decisions from, right? And
Man,
healing don't happen from the outside in, it happens from the
from the
inside out.
inside out.
Right?
Mhm.
So that's why what you said before was like crucial, because I believe, like, for real, nobody, we asked a while ago, what would you do? I don't care who you got to talk to in terms of a premarital coach, counselor, whatever. Do it. It is necessary. My daughter's in that place right now, right? Pregnant, baby. She wants to get married now at 21. And I'm like, oh, hey, oh, just because you're having a baby doesn't necessarily mean that you should get married right away. You're 21. And of course, at 21, they can't fully receive all, right? Because they feel they know the entire world. But I talk as in love, the best that I can. Sweetheart, I want the best for you. You've seen some things happen with me and your mother. You don't want that for you. She's like, right, Daddy, I really don't. I said, do me a favor. It's one thing to be committed to having a child, but it's something totally different to commit your life to someone else.
Listen, when you have a child, you have a chain. When you have a man, or you get married because of the chain, you have a ball. The ball and chain is not the wife. The ball and chain is, I believe, is the weight that you take on that you didn't need to take on immediately.
That's it.
That's. Listen, man, I know the time is fleeting at this. The time is fleeting. It's hot over here. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I turned off the air condition because it's getting a little cool outside.
Yes, Emmy.
Oh,
Can I
my
say
wife is.
to something that to what Quest said earlier? Uh, I was talking with a friend, and I always said, man, I keep choosing the same kind of guy. Like it's.
My.
Mm,
I used to say I would date the same guy in a different body. I mean, it was like some things were just mirror. And I had a male therapist, and he said, "So what's wrong with you?" He said,
ooh,
"What's broken in you that's attracting you to those kind of men?" He said, "What would you say is their trauma? All of the men that you date." So he had me go home, and I'm writing. I said, "You know what? They all had an issue with their mother." And my thing is, I want to nurture you, and I need to feel needed in that way. And I told my friend, I said, it wasn't until I sat in therapy and I had to say that I realized I
Come
was the
on.
problem. I was the broke, like I wanted to push it off on them, like, oh, they all do this, they all do that. But it wasn't until I sat down and said, wait, Sade, like you may be the toxic one. And that's hard to digest because I'm trying to fix you because I don't want to focus on myself. And so a lot
mm.
of times we have to be willing to sit with that discomfort. And when we talk about healing, the healing process is not fun. There's
Nope.
nothing.
Nope.
I'm watching my
That's
mother
Nope.
heal
that's
for her. It is the
Nope.
most frustrating. The moment you think you coming up, you try something that's like, nope, you're not where you thought you were.
You know what the part about that healing process that just completely pisses me off? You can go for years with that repressed or suppressed trauma and get to a certain place and space in life where a trigger comes along and wakes all of it right on up. And you feel that I've gotten to my 30s, my 40s, and 50s. Why am I going to go in? Let me tell you something. First and foremost, my firm belief is if you black and you living in America, you need therapy every day. Your dog. That's first off. You hear me? Not to
And if you
mention all the
get
other
it,
stuff that you got to deal with in terms of your family history and dealing with other people in their family. Me and my mom, like, low key, almost got into it the other day. And my wife was like, why didn't you address it? You need to address stuff like that. I said, babe, you know what? You're absolutely right. But at that place and space, I did not have the capacity to manage my emotions and hers at the same
and
time.
hers at the same time.
You see
Right.
what I'm telling you? So it was better for me to just let this ride for now and later on have a conversation about it.
But that's why
Mm,
what Sade said is important. And this is the thing that I teach my sons, especially, is when they feel an emotion, go sit with that emotion for a minute.
yeah.
Go
mm.
feel all of your feelings right now in this. If you're crying, go sit with those tears. If you're angry, go sit with that anger. There's a way to be respectful. Don't disrespect my house, right? Don't destroy my home because you're having emotion, but go sit with that emotion. And then come back. Now let's have a conversation. What were you feeling? What caused you to feel that? So now you don't have to worry about managing your emotions and someone else's when you feel that trigger again, because you've already sat with yours. You know what that feels like now. It doesn't overtake you.
See,
that's the reason why when you have conflict with someone, you can't manage their emotions because you never managed your own. You never sat with your own.
And what the thing that's most powerful, and this is why I'm an advocate for therapy, because I told my therapist maybe a month ago, I said, I am a better sister, cousin, friend, daughter, and I pray I will be a better wife whenever I get married, because I've sat here and because I was the type, no, we got to talk about it right now. I'm feeling this. I want to talk about it. And she was like, but you're horrible at it. She was like, you talk in circles when you get in your feelings, and you just talking to talk. I said, but I want to be heard. She said, go talk to God. She was like, you want to talk to the person who is not even able to hear what you're saying because they're hurt in the situation too. She's like, sometimes it's okay to get into it on Monday and we don't address this till Thursday. Because
that's a hard lesson to learn.
Because I need to know.
I think one of the problems is that, and I think we take this as in the Bible too literally, right? The Bible does say, never let the sun go down on your wrath, right?
Yes. Don't go to
but
bed
the truth is, right? Don't go to bed angry. But the way that we pose that is, don't let the sun go down on your wrath with your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we took that wrong. I think that what the Bible is basically saying to us is that's anybody, right?
Right.
But here's the issue. I love what you just said, that sometimes that issue that comes up on Thursday, you need to chill so you can handle it on Saturday. Or you understand where I'm coming from? And when we talk about wrath, maybe the fact is that we're not upset with others. We're really upset with ourselves.
My.
Or we might even be upset with God.
That's
so the thing that I learned once I put this in practice, I would say, and I tell people all the time, I don't argue. That is something I do not do. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to. I
just want to pause. Donovan, I'm going to ask you a question. Why, when she said that, why did you just start smiling? Like, why did you? I know you're single. I say it again.
Go ahead.
No, I'm talking to you, Donovan. I'm asking you. When she said she doesn't argue, we can replay it back if you want to, right? You just threw up a big smile. Like, I'm not trying to hook you up. I'm just really saying that. What was that? What was that about?
So I can feel what she's saying, because I know growing up I didn't have no tolerance for anything. I'm like, something, I'm out. I'm not even addressing it. And learning over the years is that you still have to have that talk.
Ooh.
And what I've learned is that, and I like you to say, you got to manage yourself, because you can't read the person's mind. You don't know what they're thinking until you have the conversation. So you have to kind of manage yourself and your emotion, and practice self-control when you're approaching it. So why I laugh is because somebody said to me, like, "Oh, you gotta argue. That's how you get things out." And I'm like, no, that and for their justifying it is that, it's just a debate. But I'm like, well, that's still an argument.
Here's a problem. Here's a problem I have with debates, and I'm going to hear the problem I have with debates in relationships is that somebody has to win. Debates, or somebody wins in a debate. A discussion, you come to an understanding. You understand where I'm coming from? There's no way that Trump and Kamala is coming to an understanding.
Yep.
Right.
And I'm going to say this, right? Although I'm voting for one of them,
Mm-hmm.
that I feel like both of them, if someone was really, really good on the Republican side, they can trash her. It's just this guy doesn't think straight. I'm being straight with you, right? What we're picking is a lesser evil, and I'm saying that's politics. I have nothing to say about Trump. I have nothing to say about Kamala, except that that's politics. When the political mindset comes into our homes and into our relationships, and is someone's got to be right and someone's got to be wrong, and then you split the children into which party that they're in. You understand where I'm coming from? Or even you split your friends. Like when my friends my friends, I can name 5 friends of mine right now who are going through a divorce or getting a divorce. The fact of the matter is that the stress for me is, do I go with the Democrats or do I go with the Republicans? And the relationship seems like a political issue of who's right and who's wrong, instead of how do we make our relationship great again.
So
I think what we have to start realizing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to add to what Paul is saying about the political relationship. I was on the court balling. You know, I'm still balling, Paul.
Amen. I don't know how you're doing it.
I was on the
I'm
court
gonna say that I don't know how you're doing it, but go
My
ahead.
wife told me she'd break my neck if I go back on anybody's court.
I'm on the court balling, and like between games, I'm talking to one guy, and he came to me, you know, like, man, you know, my wife, you know, she's just on this, you know, and both of them can't agree which side they want to go with, and he's just like venting to me. I'm like, I mean, why? But I guess he needed something outside the house between the political parties to just vent. And I'm like, look, man, it's just, you know, this will have nothing to do with you and your wife. You and your wife is you and your wife. That's something different, you know. But I just, when you talked about political views, the vision that it brings to the household, where one side is on the other side of the spectrum. You know, so
Somebody just texted me, Sade, and said that I cut you off, and said that don't let her forget what she was saying. What you were saying was, I don't
No.
argue. Go ahead, if you remember.
Because it keeps coming up. I think the thing that we have to understand is, the reason why I say I don't argue is because I've learned that a lot of the things I want to argue about are based on my irrational beliefs.
Slow down. Take this real.
You were supposed to do that. You should have known this. That's my irrational beliefs. And so if I'm arguing something that's irrational, we are going to be divided. So when I go and I sit in my room and you know, self-talk is powerful. Sade, what are you really mad about? Sade, what did you do to contribute to this confusion? And when I go and I speak to you, I'm not, and mind you, I have to do this with my mother and my siblings. And we've learned how to say, hey, this isn't what I was trying to say. This isn't what I was trying to do. But I also have to be willing to hear how I contributed to this discord. And so you go and you speak and you realize a lot of this is rooted in what I expected of you that I never communicated to you. Then I had to sit back and say, Sade, you were wrong.
I hate saying I'm wrong.
Okay, pause for a moment. What is it about us saying that we were wrong that we don't like?
It's tough, man.
Here's the funny thing.
It's tough, man.
This is the reason why when I'm reading this book, I'm telling y'all, if y'all don't get this book, this is the reason why he's saying that spirituality without emotional health is dangerous.
Okay.
Because when you read, you know what I'm saying, it always tells you about humility and being in and how we were born in sin and shaping in iniquity, and none of us are perfect and none of this stuff. So we know this now. We know that we're born in sin. We know we're not perfect, but when we make mistakes, we don't want to come back and say we were wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. I'm with you, Pete. Like I'm in that place. Like I hate to say that I'm wrong, but I know that I have to say I'm wrong, because if I don't, then I'll be communicating non-verbally to my wife that I'm always right and you always wrong, no matter what happens.
It's harder for me to say to myself, look in the mirror and say, "Yo, man, you were wrong," because if I say that to myself, then my next thing is that I gotta right that wrong. And
No,
you
no,
know,
no, no,
okay,
no. What we have to understand is me owning that I was wrong and I made a transgression towards you. I apologize. My goal is to never make that same transgression
Mistake.
again.
That's it.
okay,
Because
That's
me
it.
messing up one time is a mistake, but if I make it a habit, then
And
I'm
that's it.
going to break this up either way it goes.
That's it.
So I'm going to be wrong.
That's
My
it.
goal is not to continue repeating that same wrong, even in a different fashion, over and over again. I can't undo what's already done, though.
Yeah. And here's the funny thing about it is that sometimes even in those instances, and we bring up, Corel said something a while ago, and it was so powerful. She said, you might even be mad with God.
Yeah.
And some of us really feel like you can't be angry with God. And then that would mean that God is not emotionally stable then for you to be angry with him. You know what I'm saying? This is the reason why I'm saying that sometimes you try to bring God into your little idea or into your little world of what just look how we operate. We make these unspoken deals with God. Like, I'm going to behave, I'm going to do the right thing, and you going to bless me. Not knowing that you could be Job walking uprightly with God and your life could be turned upside down in an instant and you didn't do nothing or say anything that brought that to you. But it was just God bragging on you in the spiritual realm.
Right. Let me sound like Corel.
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing is, because again, I think I've said this before. I'm 38, single, never married, no children. There have been plenty of nights where I've sat up with God, like, why did you let this happen?
Yeah.
But like, why did you allow me to experience this, and this? If you knew this would be me today,
if you knew,
why? You're all knowing. So why let certain things happen? Why let certain experiences happen? If you know this is where I'm going to be and this is what I'm struggling with. And the thing I love about God is sometimes his silence is so comforting.
Oh,
because
man.
Because it's like, Sade, really, I don't have to answer you. I sincerely don't. But because I love you, let me show you why. Because if you would have got married 10 years ago when you wanted to, you would be divorced. You would be divorced, or you would be miserable. So take my that anger with God. We also have to be I can't be angry and yell and scream and be mad at him and not sit in silence with him when he tells me just to sit there and listen. So it's a process.
I got you. Hey, Quest, we need to let these folks go because
for sure.
Because Corel and Sade,
I forgot my bed too.
Me too. Every time I want to close up, Corel and Sade keeps it going. You know what I mean? They just they say something, and then you don't want no buzz, but then when they say something, the chats keep buzzing when they say something. So we don't want them to talk anymore.
Real quick,
but I got one more thing to say.
Real quick, Corel. Sade, what part of the country you in?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, come on. So you already know, P. The live event has to happen. And
the live event must happen. It must happen.
Yeah, and we just got to have Sade come sit on the panel with us.
That's it. Corel, go ahead, sis.
So the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'll shut up.
Yeah,
you good. For real.
It's something that a friend said to me when I was, going through my chemotherapy treatments. So she said that the reason God doesn't show us everything because we wouldn't believe that if he showed us the big picture and showed us all the different paths of our life, that we would still choose this path that we're on, even with the bad experiences. So he has to give us breadcrumbs a little bit at a time.
Wow.
So that we can accept where we are when we get to the place where he wants us to be.
You have a podcast. Don't you have a podcast? Are you starting a podcast? Am I right? No. Which one? Now I thought I saw, Corel, that you were starting a podcast, or you.
No.
Yeah, let's
Bro,
get it.
I saw a flyer. You didn't have a flyer out there that you were doing some kind of podcast live or something like that?
I've been a guest on several podcasts.
Well, thanks for coming on, Alistair. All right. Listen, let me let everybody go one by one. Donovan, happy birthday to you, man.
Yeah, man.
Yo,
Thank
big
you.
up.
Happy birthday. And
Happy
and
birthday.
Yeah, bro.
may you live to see many more. And if your hamstring bust playing ball,
Yo,
don't call
yo,
me.
I snapped 2 Achilles. I'm not going on the body court again, B.
Oh, man, we're staying at the gym, man. We're staying at the gym.
Yeah,
All right, good. Hey,
All right,
Don,
Thanks, man. Y'all be
we
blessed.
see you. All right, good. It was good to see Donovan. I haven't seen him in a long time, man.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a long time. Corel, we know that you got to go and count money for your church,
Come on now.
but it's good. I'm glad to have you in the area. It's
Come on
nice to
now.
have you in the area. It's probably what 2 years now or less.
A year and a half.
A year and a half. So it's good to have you. Oh, but
Girl, you over at Sligo?
she's in
And it's
Sligo.
Sligo now,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a lovely church. I like that church.
Yes, a beautiful church.
That's
It's a
where Joey
beautiful-
got married.
What Joey?
Joey Kibble, isn't that Sligo church?
Oh yes. So we're gonna let go Corel so she can go ahead and continue counting money. This is early for her.
Thank
Please
you
say
for
hello
having me.
Please say hello to your husband for me, and we will see you soon for the blessing. We'll
Yes,
see you
Yes.
soon for the blessing. All right, take care of
Absolutely.
this. All right, yeah, man. She's something else, man.
yeah.
I think that whenever individuals can lend something
Man, come on.
so vital. You talking about Foster?
Come on.
Man, she's going to heaven. Her and her husband going to heaven first. You know, but so beautiful, so beautiful.
Come on.
So, you know what I'm going to do? I don't even want to say goodbye to this one. I just want to just cut her off.
Well, God bless you.
That's that health speaking now. That's that health. God bless you.
I'm from the South.
Oh man, listen, we're so happy to see that your mom is out the hospital.
She is, and she's
Yeah.
getting on her nerves, so she's back
Praise
to
God.
herself.
Back, she's back. I got
That's
you.
a
I
whole
got
other
you.
conversation y'all should talk about. Taking care of your parents.
Come on now.
How
Come on
humbling
now.
is that?
More than humbling, because it also comes with honor. You know what I'm saying? It also comes with honor. So
Sade,
Well,
how long you been living in the A now?
I've only been in Atlanta a year and a half. I'm originally
Oh,
from
that's
Dallas.
why. Okay, that's why. Because I lived in Atlanta for 13 years before I moved here to Charlotte.
I'm a first generation Adventist who just,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did it all.
What church are you going to out there now?
amen.
Amen.
My membership is at Berean,
Berean.
but I am open to different experiences on Saturday.
Okay. Amen. Have you been over to West End already?
I have.
Okay, that's the old home church. I was there when Preston was there before that. So yeah.
Yeah, and coming from Dallas, it's different. It's very different.
It's very different.
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh
very
yeah.
different.
Very
But
different.
that's
here.
what's up. That's what's up. Amen.
Jesus is real.
How your boy say it in Bad Boys, the Haitian dude, Jesus is the way, my brothers.
Hold on to him forever.
Woo!
Yeah.
Sade, thank you for joining us again. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Gentlemen, have a wonderful evening.
Yes, you too. You too. Man, she's amazing. She's amazing.
She's the real man. She's the real.
So listen, man, it's always a pleasure, brother. We got to do this again next week.
Next week? Yes, we do.
We're on again next week. I may be doing it from a hotel room. I have
let's get it.
Even better, man. We'll roll up with that and have a great time. Yo, listen.
I'm planning this live, brother. This needs to
continue, man. It needs to continue. See, I didn't even get to show you, man. I it was so live. I didn't get to drink my sorrow.
Oh wow!
All right, hold on.
You got treats, bro.
No, that's not the treat. The treat is bulla.
Yo.
Yes, man. So I'm gonna go upstairs, watch my little Archie Bunker.
Yo, and then off to the rest we go.
Oh, that's that's right. That's right. So everyone who's watching, man, I just want to thank everybody for just coming on. Share this with somebody. It's not about the numbers, it's about the conversation. So hoping that we all have this opportunity again to do this again on Monday.
Yep.
But just thank you for joining us on Unscripted Conversations. Be blessed, everyone. Be blessed.
Peace.